I feel like I have to prove myself to be a good audio engineer just because I'm a woman.
It's so hard to be the only woman behind the glass.
I don't want people noticing I'm a woman. I just want to be good at my job.
I never see people like me in the recording studio.
I just want more representation.
There's no other woman on my tour.
I'm the only woman in my audio classes.
I feel like my music just isn't taken seriously. It's so hard to find other women in sound.
As bad as it is now for women in the music industry, it was worse for my generation. It was worse for the previous generation, and imagine starting in the 50s. So my generation had to tolerate more than this generation does. In the music industry, historically, women were called girl singers and just told to stand there and sing, and they were told what to sing and when to sing and how to look. And hey, little lady, the big men will handle the rest.
You know, when I talk to my parents or people of that generation, sometimes I think, man, they're so far backwards. But they don't know any better, and I think they reacted against the generation before them, and everything just continues to evolve. And I think from one generation to the next, there seems to be an ebb and flow. There's you know, with any issues like politics, gender, education, I feel like a generation will take things in a direction, and then the next generation might look at the holes that they perceive in what that generation did and try to pull things in another direction.
When I talk to women engineers who were in the industry 20, 30 years ago, it was taboo to talk about that kind of stuff, whereas now people are much more open and much more willing to discuss it.
Only recently have we seen women getting in the control booth, becoming engineers, producers, A&R executives, that kind of thing. There were a few cases here and there, but overall, women have been the performers and men have been the managers, the producers, the engineers, but hopefully that's starting to change. In country music, women don't get the support of the industry like men do. They don't get the radio airplay, they don't get as many record deals, publishing deals, that sort of thing. There was a study recently of top country albums produced by women, and there was only one that was produced by a woman who wasn't also the artist.
Women are few and far between in audio, as it is, like white women. The lack of people of color in it needs to be talked about more. It's more prevalent in Nashville, especially in country music, which is so ironic because country music was created by the Black community. There's a community in Nashville that's really fighting for that to change as well. And you've got artists like Brittany Spencer and Mickey Guyton who are really talented Black country singers, and they're really trying to change that, and the people behind them are trying to change just that whole issue in general.
First of all, it's hard for anyone breaking into the industry. All right, so then you add a barrier for women. Then you add a barrier for race. You could double that, right? But the goal is you find your people, you find your community, that you create your sound and make good music, and good music cannot be denied. There is still the perception that women aren't interested in music production or they're not qualified. I was in a board meeting for a major music organization, and the whole group was talking about whether there's a double standard for women in country music. And the women were saying, look, there is. And this man said, well, you know, like as a producer, you know, women have to go get the education like the men have, and it's like, they are doing that, you're just not hiring them after.
When people describe women's work in the industry, they say, oh, she's so great to work with. And then when they talk about men, they say, their research is so great. Like they talk about men and how great their work is, and they talk about women and their emotional role, maybe. Like apples to oranges, kind of.
I think of people like that who just try to put people in boxes of just like, yeah, women are more performers and men are more the engineers and the creators, and it's like, no, that's not like that anymore. And a lot of times, I mean, now it's women are doing all their own things. They're recording their projects, they're producing them, they're mixing them, they're singing on them, they're doing everything.
At the audio college, most of my students are males. And every class I'll get at least a couple females. And when people want to learn something, they're willing to do the work. So that's always most important.
I had this notion when I was a freshman in college that I had to prove myself and blend in with the guys in my program. I was only one of 12 in my freshman class, and I was the only girl. Don't try to set yourself up to be alone. Like, don't think that you have to prove yourself or be better than, just create your community, because that's the only way that you're gonna get better, is if you have people alongside you that are willing to help and be there for you.
I have seen a shift during my time in the music industry. I am seeing a few more women break through and get Grammy nominations for their work, but the audio production field is decades behind the music business side of things for women.
I think things have changed for women right now for the better. I feel like the awareness of the inequality and the unfairness has driven people to give women more chances currently. And it's important to be given a chance, but it's also important when given the chance, we do have to deliver.
My favorite part about being a woman in audio is probably the initiative that people are taking to be more inclusive in the industry, whether it's women or non-binary or people of color, just trying to be more inclusive. I like being a part of that. There's one engineer, her name's Ebony Smith. She's talked about this. People like to disguise it as there's a lack of women, and it's like there isn't a lack of women, there's a lack of visibility. And it's the, hiring of the same 5 people for all these records all the time.
I just always admire the people that are out there working hard. They seek out their work, they nail it, they start to finish do a good job, and they maintain a good attitude. That's always inspiring to me. They don't really seem to get discouraged or sidetracked. That's always, I see those people and I'm like, I want to be like that when I grow up.
I'm on the younger scale of millennial, so we're the ones that are coming up and taking on bigger positions, and I think we're aware that the only way the industry is going to evolve and be better than it was is if we include everybody.
The good thing is the young people are changing it, and popular music is largely a young person's art form. If you think of most of the people who make the music, they usually start off under 30 or under 40, and 40 is still very young. So young women can make an impact while they're still young.
When we sit down to write a song, we might sit down with the same song idea in mind, and it might be 2 completely different results. And that's the cool thing about music. I think as far as an inclusive industry in the future, I would like to see things getting to the point where I don't have to use the hashtag female producer or female drummer. I would just like it to be, you go to a gig and you see the women running the soundboard, or you go into the studio and there's a woman in the room running the board, that kind of thing. I feel like to have it be more of a regular thing where you just go out into the field and it's less of a rarity to see a woman. I think it would be great to just continue to see more of that.
To me, an equitable music industry would be where the control room and the artist development team and everything across the board in the music industry represents the makeup of America, right? So it's 50% men, 50% women. It's reflected in BIPOC people, LGBTQ people, that people don't assume you're less than just because of your appearance or sexual orientation. You don't want a society that is, colorblind, or, oh, I don't notice if you're a woman. Well, being a woman is what makes me me.
Don't diminish your womanhood because you think that that will get you to where you want to be, and that will get you a seat at whatever table you're looking to sit at. You have to bring everything you are into what you're doing, and if you dull one part, you're not bringing everything in.
Women who work in the music industry are fascinating, they're creative, they're colorful, they're curious, and it's just fun to be around. And it's a great community of women in the music industry. And they're also very welcoming and accepting, which is vital. So support women, let's get more women in the room, and then we'll have a larger voice and more power.